As YouTubers come and go on the platform and leave their own story in one way or another, I find it pretty funny that, that the YouTuber Noah Samson is just decided to fucking like full dive into like the most idiotic thing I can think of, and is just attacking possibly one of the most wholesome and or like non-violent creators I think like you could, but like paint them as like a villain.
If you're not aware, Wendigoon is a horror conspiracy theorist YouTuber with several million subscribers that, as you will hopefully come to see, should not be seen as the wholesome, southern-friendly dad persona that he has publicly constructed around himself in the past several years. And that, like many people who talk about being Christians as much as he does, has a dark past with deep ties to far-right extremism. On a base level, his work has never been of personal interest to me. We share a similar focus on topics that we like to write about, but our similarities basically end there. I have no need or desire to hear 5 hours of opinions on Blood Meridian from a 21-year-old millionaire who got famous around the age of 19. And I know that is probably the most boomer thing that I've ever said. Apologies for that. But I say that to argue that I really do think that there are some works that are really not intended to hit the right way until we are older. There are some works that fundamentally will not be understood by you if you are wealthy and have always been upper class your entire life. And this may all sound condescending, but that doesn't stop it from being somewhat true.
So as far as being narrow-minded and fucking dim-witted, as thinking as a non-educated, or like a highly educated, I should say, person would be as like, intellectually taught or capable of like developing or like seeing through his stories, narratives, and whatever have you, the first go around is kind of fucking idealistic, especially when I don't know who died and made him the arbiter of horror stories. Especially considering the last video I saw from him was a few years back about the manosphere type shit, or the womanosphere type shit. I don't know, I was just clipping it for a video and I thought he had solid consensus that both sides were kind of cringe, that the manosphere and womanosphere type shit or communities, whatever I'm trying to get at, you know what I mean, was pretty much just like a dog shit like incel or femcel type creator that literally just like was playing or like betting off like everyone's like negative emotions off the opposite gender. But I guess the mole just grew twice as large in his brain over the 2 years, and then he just decided to just go full all out and started fighting with, Destiny, popular, political advocate. And, he's pretty, like, famous, and I can see why, because I also have been following Destiny for, I'd say, longer than 2 years now. More than I can say for Noah Samson, especially when it was literally just like, I watched the one video, I got what I needed from Noah, and then I leave. But with Destiny, I always come back, and it's just like, I don't really see him like holding up to the same standard as Destiny has, even so much so that he's like addressed it like and took down the Wendigo video, even though like the damage is already but done. Everyone's seen everything, and me like and everyone else is still like making videos on how fucking dumb it is that he decided to do such.
So Brandon tweeted, "Hey, going through every one of Wendigoon's friends and insulting them to try to paint him in a bad light makes you seem more like a desperate and pathetic freak. You seem like you have low testosterone. It could be making you moody. Try exercising and shooting guns." I mean, true. Also, using a photo of my grandpa after his brain surgery is super cool of you. You seem like a great guy. I want to shake your hand. So he made a thread. A thread about the last few days. Many people have said very fair criticism of me and my work, that I did not appropriately portray people, and I'd like to address that. To Brandon, I do need to apologize to you for two things. The first, you're right. It was wrong for me to use that picture. I included it to show that you and Wendigoon had a closeness. There are other images I could have used to demonstrate that. For what it is worth, I'm genuinely sorry. The second is I did not do my due diligence when looking into allegations against you. To be honest, I saw pictures of you with Turkey Tom, with Donut Operator, with Wendigoon, with Brandon Herrera, and often with a gun in your hand. I wrote you off. I did not feel you were worth my time, and that was a result of the company you keep. Ultimately, that's falling on me, though, and how I presented that. You using homophobic language to me, though, and calling me a low testosterone freak does not change my opinions about you. My base thoughts remain the same, even though I should have said them differently and not let that cloud my writing. I mean, it's not homophobic. Is this guy gay? I have no... is he gay? I honestly thought he was straight. Maybe he is gay, and I'm wrong, but... To Budahara, your thumbnail was transphobic. I have nothing else to say to that. It wasn't. I always try to do my best. I dropped the ball here regardless of how I presented this. You didn't just drop the ball on how you presented this. It was like a fucking horrible video, bro. The presentation, it wasn't just the presentation. It was like the research was bad. The basis of your video, which before the writing is the research, was dog shit. Not only were your points bad, not only did I disagree with them, not only was it extreme reaching, like you were just wrong. You were just wrong. You couldn't even properly call me a racist. I try to live my life with integrity. Well, you didn't do that very properly. My heart was in the right place? No, it wasn't, motherfucker. You're fucking envious. I was overcome with anger because I think it's incredibly dangerous that there's a man in horror that you cannot criticize without being called an F slur. You can criticize him without being called an F slur. You can criticize Wendigoon. But I did let my anger affect my overall quality in the presentation of these events. I still think it's dangerous. I think it should be talked about, but I should have worked at this to make my thoughts more clear and professional. You should never speak again. Oh, this is so long. Brandon said, I had no idea you were homosexual. I was calling you a low testosterone freak for being a miserable, moody asshole who basically slandered me in an attempt to demonize a close friend of mine. You literally said Wendigoon should be banned from public spaces.
So with that said, some public unrest is, you know, not entirely gone. Wendigoon said not to bring hate or any, like, strife towards this individual. However, I can't help but stand up and defend my boy, especially when this, you know, pretentious mongrel has the fucking audacity to say who and who cannot enjoy horror just because there happens to be a political, like, ideology that he sees in whatever movie he watches, or simply just because he says so. Because I think one of the wildest things that I think I've heard through the entire, like, 3-hour video that he, like, cut down to 2 hours and 45 minutes or so, because he took out the Wendigoon, like, trash hit piece, was that the fact that he, like, pretty much, like, said that Wendigoon, it wasn't, like, Native American just because he said so, and that the, like, Wendigo, like, name or spirit, like, is just pretty much, like, the equivalent of an N-word to, like, I guess Native Americans.
What follows is the comment that they were referring to about cultural appropriation, where a native person called out Wendigoon for his use of their spiritual symbol, to which he said to them, I'm actually going to make a video on this in order to make a direct response, but for now, cultural appropriation is a good way to alienate one group of people from the other. Whenever a society makes advancements in art and literature, and then another society gatekeeps others from interacting with it makes the creator seem inhuman and odd. The easiest way to create prejudice is to convince others that a group of people should not be interacted with. I have spoken to several natives who love the concept, yet only those who have no value in its existence say I shouldn't talk about it, inciting an indoctrinated superiority. Furthermore, when we stop talking about cultures, they die. This is especially applicable to Native Americans, who use spoken word to pass down their stories, and if we do not continue to speak their stories, their culture dies before we do. Lastly, I was raised in Appalachia, and my entire life has been filled with stories of the mountains, and creatures that lurk in the dark. My culture is as American as any, and I recognize the importance in keeping the fire alive. I in no way mean this to attack, or to be direct, just a simple reply. If we develop the idea that we can't speak of certain people, then we're no better than those who silence them. He's basically using the I have a few black friends excuse to tell indigenous people to fuck off and to not bother him, so that he can continue without criticism to make a lot of money by selling plushies of a monster that was invented by a white British man that is ultimately making fun of their culture, as well as plastic figurines, posters, shirts, and other merchandise.
So with that said, I think I'm more than willing to just hate on Noah Samson entirely, even though it might get me, like, you know, discommunicated or excommunicated for Wendigoon potentially in the future. I think I have to put up a stand and say, do you know what? I'm tired of retards like this fucking being able to do whatever they want, claim whoever is whatever they want, just because they said so. So with that said, I say this video is wrapped up pretty well. We critique Noah Samson, everyone else is doing so as well. And we did it all without calling a
What did he say?
Oh. Well, there goes that. I'm not apologizing.
Yeah, it's getting hard for me to keep my head straight. Had a heavy heart, now I'm carrying dead weight. Digging my own grave, I did it my own way. I'm buried alive with all the shit that I don't say. It's deeper than 6 feet, I'm barely alive. My apartment is a coffin that I'm carried inside. And I'm coughing cause I'm off and off of various highs. Got me wondering, does anybody care if he dies?